because we want to improve ourselves and do well. And the way we can do that is by having a great club. And we have a great club by having a great club environment. Now, one of the things that's nice about our club here is that we have a very nice room to meet in. Marion found a good room for us. The temperature's usually pretty good. We don't have stale air. Ventilation is fine. The only problem that I remember, we used to have a motorcycle that would start up about 8 o'clock every night. We'd warm up there for a while. We have an announcement that comes on, but that's not too bad. The first club that I was in the back of a restaurant, in a dingy little room. We were kind of crowded in there. It was a lunchtime club, and so the waitress was coming in, banging dishes and all that. Great experience for somebody that wants to be an after-dinner speaker, but for the rest of us, it was kind of tough. So we have a really good environment here physically. But what about the people part of it? How do we treat each other? What kind of enthusiasm do we show about our club? Well, there's several things that we can do. And by the way, this is not my ideas, this comes from International Toastmasters. And so I'm just giving you their material, kind of in my own words. Be prepared to be on time. How simple is that? How would you like to be the Toastmaster? You're sitting there, the meeting is almost ready to start, and you look around and what happens? 2 of your speakers haven't showed up, and you don't have the table topics master yet. Gives you a little bit of stress, a little bit of tension. So be on time, be a little bit ahead of time, because they might call on you, Doug, be on counter tonight. They might need a timer tonight, Reed. And if you're early, it makes it a lot easier on the Toastmaster. And another thing that I really appreciate as the Sergeant of Arms is people help me. They pass out the stuff at the beginning of the meeting. They pass out the slips to evaluate. They pass out the slips to vote with. They help me pick up things at the end of the meeting. It makes my life much easier. I appreciate it. And you can also come
hours for adult services are over in 10 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation.
You can come and ask the Toastmasters anything you need tonight so that he knows that you're there. Another nice thing about being early for the meeting is the table topics person is looking around and seeing who doesn't have a role tonight and writing down your name so that you can be able to participate in table topics. But if you don't show up until halfway through the meeting, you may be overlooked and never have a chance to do table topics. Being on time and early is great. Volunteer for committees and offices. We've had several volunteers in the last few weeks. We have Lionel and Jennifer that volunteered to be officers. We have Andrea that volunteered to host our party for our Christmas time. So it's great. When you learn stuff, it helps the club out and it helps you grow as a Toastmaster. Be supportive. Listen attentively. Be enthusiastic. And congratulate people when they do something in Toastmasters. Now, I think this is a very important thing, and I think this is something our club excels in. Welcoming guests. Make them feel welcome. Ask them what their name is. Introduce yourself. Talk to them before the meeting. After the meeting, ask them, how'd you like the meeting? Are you interested in Toastmasters? Why would you want to join Toastmasters? Is there something to do with your job? Are you looking for a job? What do you need from Toastmasters? And that will, if we're warm and inviting to them, maybe they've never been to a Toastmaster meeting before, and that encourages them to join. And of course you want to ask if they have any questions, and if they're interested, you just give them the a paper so that they can sign up and become a Toastmaster. But we not only care about visitors, we care about each other. So you want to care for the fellow club member. We had several new members that have joined recently, and we want to make sure that those members have a mentor. I'm not sure they do. I think they do, probably. We do have a strong mentor program. So we mentor them, help them with their speeches, help them with the new roles. Not only that, but we want to pay attention to continuing members. Encourage them, find out where they are, what their goals are, what they plan to do in the future. Be courteous and caring toward them. It's I think that's also another important thing. And be considerate. When you have a role, show up for your role. There's two roles I think that are really, really crucial for a meeting to make the meeting really run smoothly, and that's the Toastmaster and the Table Topics Master. Most of the other roles can be filled in. And this is my opinion, this is not from International Toastmasters, but I'm just going to give you what I think. If you're the Toastmaster or you're the Table Topics Master, you better show up unless you're in the hospital or you have a death in the family. But of course, if you can't make it and you know ahead of time and give everybody a day or two to plan, then that's a little bit different. Inform our education secretary, VP of Education, that you can't make it, and give some notice, then that's fine. Because we can't always control what happens at work or other parts of our life. And then the other part of being a Toastmaster that I think is very important as well, and that is to give good evaluations. And how do you give an evaluation that's going to make a new member feel good? There may be 10 things that you saw in their speech that you said, you need to shape up on that. But are they going to be able to handle 10 criticisms? I don't think so. So you want to give them a nice sandwich. You start out with saying, you did these things well. And then you slip in one thing that maybe you could be a grow point, maybe you could improve on. And then you tell them some more things that they did that were wonderful, and give them some encouragement so that you don't have all these things that just overwhelm them, because nobody can improve 10 things at once. You can only concentrate on one thing at a time. And I think it's also important to fill out the written forms. Some years back, we had a fantastic Toastmaster. He was a distinguished Toastmaster, and he gave a speech, a terrific speech. And I sat there with the written form, and I could not think of one grow point. I couldn't think of anything to say about it, because of my experience or inexperience, I just didn't have any idea what to tell them for a grow point. So I didn't even give them a written evaluation. Several other people apparently did the same thing, because afterwards he said, I gave a speech, I only got 2 or 3 written evaluations. Soon he quit our club and went on to other clubs that he was members of. And we lost a terrific member. And I don't know if that was the reason. It might have been at least one of the reasons that he kind of got discouraged with us. And I felt really bad about it. And now it doesn't really matter whether I have a grow point or not. And many times I don't really write down a grow point. But at least I tell them what I liked about their speech and encourage them. Written evaluation is very important. Now, another thing that our club does very well, and that's recognized achievements. When you get your CC, we have a party for you, right? We have some food. We have a pin for you. When I finished my first CC in another club, nobody said a word. I got my notice from International Toastmaster, and if I wanted a pin, I had to go buy it myself. So it was so different being here in this club where you have more encouragement. And by the way, this club was not distinguished. It was not President's Distinguished. In fact, I didn't even know they had such programs. I didn't know that they had TLI, which is officer training. They didn't even bother with that stuff. They were supposedly a Toastmaster club and kind of followed the Toastmaster program, but not in the way that we do here. So their club was not near as good as our club and did not have the kind of climate that we have. And finally, we want to foster camaraderie. We want to be warm and friendly toward all the other members. We want to be not just Toastmasters, but we want to be friends with each other. So in conclusion, let us all strive to create the best club climate so that we can meet our personal goals. Now we have a little bit of time here, and if you go ahead and pass those out, I'd like, if you'd like to participate, tell me what you think that our club does well in some of these areas that we've talked about today. Does anybody have any input that they would like to share? Some of the best club standards and things that we already meet?
We're on time.
Right, we're always on time. And if there's any areas that we could briefly discuss that we could improve. for our club's climate. Anything that we see that we can improve, I'm sure that there's always things that we can improve on. Yeah, Mike.
I think we could do more outreach to people who aren't attending or who are not renewing with us.
Mhm. Exactly. That would be good. That's part of this fostering, maybe fostering camaraderie and a sense of fellowship in the club. Anything else that anybody would like to mention? In that case, that's the end of our discussion about that, and welcome back to our Toastmaster.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob.